Greetings and salutations, Focus Up family. Welcome to the January 11, 2025 installment of the Focus Up Show. We thank you for tuning in with us live every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on YouTube and various other platforms, catching up with us on replay. And we ask that you click that like, subscribe, that bell, and share to support and maintain your weekly Focus Up fix. I am Mr. Nice Guy, nice as in the word Saint spelled backwards. And today we got Brother Walk, host of Sex Talk Walk every Thursday at 9 p.m. We got Brother Afro Agnostics. We got Student X back in the house. Mr. Floyd X is in the background. He'll be coming in and off. Infamous El Poob, he had to work, so we don't have him today. No spin that back. And the First Lady J, she's out there doing the work. She's participating in, I believe it's called Donate for Dina. So, this is addressing the whole California fire situation. So she ain't just about speaking about it, she being about it. So salute to First Lady J. So that having been said, what's going on with you, Brother Walt?
Oh man, I'm chilling. I'm out the country right now. I'm in Dubai. I'm just, but I'm chilling, man. I'm ready to do this show. Things is good. Let's rock.
Afro Agnostics, what's going on with you, brother?
I'm chilling, man. Left, right, left. Checking my traps. I was listening to Too Short the other day, but I'm doing good, man. I'm here in this winter storm. They call it. That's what they call it. I'm from Detroit, but they call it 2 inches of winter storm. So,
hey, we could use some of that storm out here in Cali. But what's going on with you, brother Student X? Welcome back.
Brother. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Another day, brother, and it's always good to be among you all. I just like to say, smelt lives matter, and let's get into it.
That's what's up. So, and Mr. Floyd X, I'm pretty sure you're doing pretty straight. But that's having been said, let's get to the get. First things first up. Out here in California, we really experiencing this fire situation. I mean, now granted, we're not in the threat where I'm at. We're not in the threat of the actual path, but we've all been getting the air quality. I mean, that first day it was terrible. But it looks like an atomic bomb has like gone off in some of these places, particularly Pacific Palisades. And I mean, it's just a terrible situation. It's sad that it's being so politicized, but at the end of the day, there needs to be some type of accountability. So I mean, I guess that's where the discussion starts. What's your take on all this, Brother Walt?
Well, I feel you have to start at the top, and at the top is Gavin Newsom, who I need that fade with. I want to fade with him. I'm telling that white boy might whoop my ass because he works out all the time. He in good shape, but I still want to fade. I'm gonna get one in. That's all I need. But I'm gonna start with him because a lot of money is being allocated, and this is an issue with California because there's a lot of brush. There's a lot of land out here that's susceptible for fires. Nothing was done. Then we got to go with Big Head Bash. She is the mayor of Los Angeles. She was in Ghana. I said on Facebook getting her box ate, but sorry, I don't want to go that bad. But yeah, those two are at the top of this problem, and they did not handle it or try to use a method to prevent it. So that's where I'm going with it.
Hey, you know what, Student X? I'd love to hear your take on this because you come from a lean. You got to first of all, do you have a take on this, brother?
Oh, bro, absolutely. I mean, I live here in California. We, of course, here in NorCal, we've been impacted by fires tremendously, through the years. And, and living here, in Cali in general, what I know we have in abundance is taxes, sunshine, fire, and fires. You see what I'm saying? So it doesn't make sense that the leadership here in California was not better prepared for what was inevitable. Is it just incompetence, or is it something greater? That's what we're going to find out. But right now, Democrats are running from accountability like roaches run from light. We're watching fire insurances that pre this fire was being canceled after Californians have been paying billions of dollars into these policies for years. Earlier, behind the scenes, I heard someone talking about deforestation, and removing dry foliage that's acting like kindling, when these fires and not removing that in advance. I think it's ridiculous. Water being rerouted, when it could be, coming, to, these fire hydrants running dry, in the midst of this crisis. So, here in California, we need new leadership and we need some new voters.
What was the second part? You said new voters?
Yeah, we need new voters too, bro.
Wow, that's
Because
profound.
those that is among the electorate right now has lost their mind, because we keep making the same errors over and over again. And, all we're seeing in California is record crime, a record loss in terms of, something that's preventable, or at least could be mitigated. So yes, we need new leadership here in California. The Democrats, having this monopoly over the politics here in this state is ill impacting the state without doubt.
So I will offer some counter. I think you're basically right in the fact that the Democratic leadership that is controlling this has really not been handling their business. And when you talk about the crime situation, the liberal concept of just sort of like catch and release as far as people doing criminal things and when they like sort of like remove bail and stuff like that, all that did was just kick up all those sort of like ransackings and massive thefts and stuff like that, because there was basically no punishment. You just was checking in and check right back out, so you could just get back to doing what you were doing. So I think that's a legitimate criticism. When you talk about the fact that some people have argued that maybe money wasn't spent over, that the fire people didn't have the resources that they shouldn't have because it went to other places that weren't as important as apparently what's going on with the fire situation. When you talk about Basbin in Ghana, that's she was there on a diplomat. She was doing business. She was doing a job, and she's not going to be putting out the fires here anyways. I understand it's a bad look.
No shit. Come on, bro. Don't play me like that. No shit.
But no, I'm saying that that's still is. But it's I think I was giving you props and saying it's a definite criticism when you're in charge and what's happening underneath you is incompetent or not being done right. So I was getting back to the compliment before you jumped in. But brother Afro Agnostics, I understand you're not out here, you know what I'm saying? But what's your take on all of this?
Yeah, I've been out there since 2000. I'm a Cali, you know what I'm saying? That's my second home. I agree with all that has been said. I just wouldn't frame it as a Democrat Republican thing. I think we saw something similar during Katrina, which was a red state. We see it in Flint, which is almost a red state. And it's just, I think, following the dictates of capital. I question whether or not human beings should be in LA like they are, in the way that they are, and how much more they've extended, the urbanization and stuff like that. Like, is that going against what, say, scientists, what they suggest, what is better for the environment? I mean, it's a desert. I mean, they're getting water in from a different state. I think I agree the government is culpable, the state of California and the federal government too, because we have agencies that are supposed to be regulating this stuff. They know with almost pinpoint accuracy the areas that are most likely to catch fire, and they see the severity, so like climate change, all those things, we need to hold people accountable. And there needs to be like an in-depth report. What's the cause? And some next got to roll.
Hey, you bring up a great point. Climate change. A lot of people have seized on this by saying that us, the Democrats, but they're making this about DEI. They're saying that all your resources went to DEI instead of to the fire and stuff like that, because they're saying that climate change is a hoax and all this other stuff. Understand that this is actually increasing sort of like fire season, you know what I'm saying? So it's all of these things. It's all of the above, you know what I'm saying? But
I think here they're an immigrant started the fire.
Exactly. So
what he's saying is true. It might be a joke. Wait, hold on. There are videos that you're going to see coming up. Like, don't get it twisted. But here's the thing. This is just what it is. It's like money is allocated for everything. Everyone has a budget, from the mayor's office to the governor's office to the Senate. Everyone has a budget to where they can allocate money, and it was not allocated toward preventing these fires. They had a guy on Joe Rogan Joe Rogan told a story about a firefighter he talked to. This was last July, and he was like, the firefighter was talking about California. Like he said, California has just been lucky for the last 20 years. Just been lucky. Right brush, right fire, right wind. The whole city, even when y'all at South Central, Compton, what? Yeah, with the right temperature, wind, fire, and illegal aliens spreading fires, starting fires. I'm just kidding. I'm selling on that. But yeah, it's documented already.
And I think, you know, it goes back to like it goes back to redistribution. You know, like, I mean, we got this Silicon Valley, folks got money there. It's just, you know, let's redistribute this money. Let's make Silicon Valley perhaps pay some more or whatever.
Are you a communist?
State with the, you know,
let's go. Like a communist, brother.
It sounds like someone that says that, look, we'll all benefit by this. We're all, if we're going to sit here and try to be all humanitarian and have compassion, that, you know, don't just talk about it with your lips, talk about it with your wallet. I mean, the bottom line is it's going to benefit California to not be devastated like this is, because now you're talking about, you know, it's going to take forever to build this stuff back up. I mean, this is not going to be an easy fix. And I mean, you're talking about, this is the rich people. It's not just the poor people. You know, Altadena is not really the altruistic, whatever. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, but you know, the affluence. But you know, Pacific Palisades and all this stuff. You're seeing all these celebrities. I mean, there's like a list of them that just lost their homes and stuff like that. So I mean, it's a big. But student X, you about to say something?
Yeah. No, just to your point, you know, the amount of, you know, homes and structures and land that this fire has destroyed. By the time the numbers are ran, you know, this is going to be the biggest, most expensive fire ever. You know, by the time it's all said and done, just based on, again, the location, you know, of this fire. You know, but I also saw a comment earlier. I caught it real briefly. Maybe it was from Big Cuz. It was saying something about, you know,
I thought we blocked him, but go ahead.
No. Yeah, removing breast as if it is easy as raking. Well, you know, so it's not an easy task. You know, I mean, I'll argue nothing worthwhile, you know, is ever easy, but is it necessary? You know, is it something that, you know, would have gone a long way to, you know, not having this fire be as strong, as enormous, you know, as it has been? You know, what other benefits would the California economy have derived from, you know, resources being allocated in that department? You know, so yeah, no, it wouldn't be easy, you know, but at the same token, it wouldn't be hard either.
And then what about the insurance? How equitable is it? Like the safety nets for people who can't get insurance, and the, you know, like does California have a policy to create more like equitable recovery? Because the celebs, they did all right. You know,
they did step up. They actually have actually just put in a policy where you can't cancel policies, you can't refuse policies, you whatever. That just broke out. I put that news article in the links.
Yeah,
but, you know,
that's not a reactive strategy. But why were there not, you know, situations, you know, in advance? You know, because we saw this with flood. You know what I mean? Here in Sacramento behind New Orleans was number 2 on the list as being the most prone to being devastated by a flood. You know, and we had areas here where flood insurance was being eliminated, and that was causing people to raising all type of red flags. And again, we saw the same thing happen here, you know, with this fire in advance of fire season. You know, policies being canceled. Well, I mean, who these politicians work for? Is it the people or is it these special interests?
And might be some other CEOs in the crossfire. You know, you might want to put some type of awareness about this type of situation. But that having said, brothers, for everything that you said, student X. So we should probably pivot. Oh yeah, we should pivot over to talking about giving some salute to these California firefighters. Now, first I want to say this. I respect the people that are in the military. I respect the people that are policemen, because these are important jobs. But to me, just having that job doesn't really make you necessarily a hero. Being heroic in those roles makes you a superhero. That's my position on that. So I do have a lot of respect. But I feel differently about firefighters. To me, firefighters are just straight heroes, period. Just being a part of the process. it's not about politics. It's not about enforcing, some politics on somebody else's land. It's not about necessarily, police being a bully or something. This is strictly about helping people and saving lives. So that's my position, and that's why we definitely want to salute firefighters for what they're doing and all of this. We understand that they were calling people that were not working, not whatever, people volunteering, all this other stuff. I mean, there's a lot of passion and concern on the firefighter side about dealing about this stuff. And I'm just saying that, we couldn't give you a big enough a salute. So that's my take. You got something to add to this, Mr. Walt?
Man, I'm like, with this fire, because it's just so close to home, where I was looking like how the firefighters were outmanned and outgunned. They're like, that's all I could think. Like, they were facing a freaking huge task, and it was like they look like ants on one fire, and other properties are burning down. Like, it was like, it's not enough of these guys. They don't have enough weapons, and then the water, no more water.
Right.
I heard about that part too. Big head bass. You know what I'm saying? It's just so. But with these firefighters, I just want to salute them guys because they working hard. 20-hour shifts. Quit playing. They want to get this job done, but it's not really much they could do. So salute to the firefighters, bro.
Mr.
Yeah,
Floyd.
firefighters all day.
Hey, I want real quick. I want to say salute to the firefighters, but still fuck the police on mine.
And then he throws it to me.
Wow.
You know what? A student X. Hold off on that. Mr. Copper acknowledges you had a slightly controversial position on this when we brought this up. So, I want to give you an opportunity to say what you were saying.
I just feel kind of funny saluting the firefighters. And I just kind of resonate with what Floyd said, firefighters. And I like what you said as far as the heroism, acts of heroism, but not the individual firefighters, but the fire department. Let's salute them too for utilizing slave labor effectively and stopping the fire, because 30% of the firefighters are prison labor. And thanks to California for passing Proposition 6 to keep slave labor going, keeping it possible. But I just want to say, like, First Lady, I know some friends who open up their spaces, their restaurants, to give people refuge. I know Holly Berry is giving away clothes, and the doctors, nurses. I mean, there's a lot of people who act heroic in this. EMTs, everyone else too, all the volunteers. Yeah.
Mr. Student X.
Yeah, no, it's without doubt that firefighters are heroes all day long. My youngest child and son, he's a firefighter here in the city of Sacramento as well. Shout out to all the firefighters. And, and I think it's underestimated that when you look at, manhood in general, firefighters are men among men. A lot of these guys, are well trained.
There's no women either?
I'm sorry?
There's no women firefighters?
Oh, no, you have a few women firefighters, no doubt about it. They've been integrating the fire departments, if you will, bringing in diversity and equity and inclusion and whatnot. And so that's been a part of, a lot of, the latest recruits coming in, the ranks being more diversified.
There shouldn't be female firefighters because, just to pass the test, you got to do 100-pound, you dragging a body for a certain amount of time. A lot of them couldn't pass that test to where they changed the test.
What? Can you beat Clarissa Shields?
Get it twisted.
If I was in the ring, I put my money on Clarissa Shields, man. If you and Clarissa was in the ring, if I had to put my money on it, I'd go with Clarissa, man.
The only way I would do it if after the fight she has to make me a sandwich. Okay? That's it. Don't play with me, brother. But now let's get back to these firefighters. They're doing a commendable job. These dudes are working hard. I'm out here in Dubai, and I've seen a firefighter, and people was in the elevator like, man, thank you for your service, man. Because he had a damn t-shirt on. He probably wasn't even a firefighter, but that's the feeling I'm having for these guys because they are doing a lot and risking their lives for this job. Straight up. Salute to the firefighters.
Yeah, and just real quickly, if I can, since it got brought up, is that, to me, what I consider a DEI hire is if standards had to be lower in order for you to even, have a place now among the ranks of whatever organization, that you're joining. That would truly indeed be a DEI hire. Straight up. And sometimes, these type of hires absolutely, is not in the best interest, of those utilizing the services, so.
But we also too have to reconsider the standards when those standards were implemented and why, because things have changed with technology.
A house burning down in the 40s is the same as a house burning down in 2025, brother.
For instance, the ladders that they use are lighter now than what they used to be. The things that were, are larger size, larger mass are now smaller and more, just more, what do you call it?
Not everybody has to be a lifter. There's all type of people that are involved in the process. So I'm just saying that I don't believe in lowering the standard as far as quality. But I mean, if the standard is messed up, like we talk about these tests that are sort of like biased against like particular races and stuff like that. That's a different discussion. But I don't really want to pile in on the DEI. I know we got a brother KG Saddam waiting in the wings, and I hope I didn't mess up your name, brother. But I don't know if we want to do the Pacific Palisades thing. I don't know if he's got something. We said we'll bring him in after commercials, or because we're only at 22 minutes. You want to go ahead and talk about Pacific Palisades? So go ahead. I'm gonna give you the first comment about Pacific Palisades, Mr. Walk.
Oh, well, you know what? I'm Hamilton High School alumni, and man, seeing what happened to the school during the fires, that school, Pacific Palisades, I never went up there. I never ditched and went up there. We were supposed to, but the homie didn't have enough gas money to get up there. We was supposed to go up there and get us some chicks at Pacific Palisades, but we didn't make it. But so I never went up there as, look at that, damn. I never went up there as a kid, but as an adult, but I always heard of Pacific Palisades, the Dolphins, that's their team. And just to see that school, what happened to it with this fire, I felt like, damn, what if something happened to Hamilton High School? I would really feel bad. Like, whoa, that's my high school. So I want to salute all the Pali High people out there. And yo, my heart with you. You know what I'm saying? With what happened to your school? Because I know y'all feeling it some type of way. For real. Damn.
Yeah, because you got to understand, from our area, Los Angeles, Hamilton, there's certain schools that we do have some kind of connection to. I mean, when you talk about Fairfax, which are rivals, we still care about those. Those dudes still part of our neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? Same as Pacific Palisades. So you're talking about Dorsey, all of that stuff. So I mean, it really does hit to us, and we got a lot of friends that went to those schools, and our sincere condolences for the loss of of their history, and this school was going on. So it's going to be impacting those students, this school year. So I mean, it's this whole situation is ugly on many fronts.
Yeah, that link you sent me showed that school has been used as a prop for a lot of films, like Carrie. When she was in there, they're all gonna laugh at you. I'm like, damn. That kind of brought back memory, a little sentimental thing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of. I forgot what the list of movies, but I mean, they were talking about Teen Wolf. They were talking about TV shows like Saved by the Bell. They were talking about all these things that because it was one of those more affluent schools. But I mean, it was a school that that they used for that type of stuff. And a lot of celebrities went there. Forrest Whitaker went there. J.J. Abrams went there. A lot of people. So it was a big deal. So our salute to those folks. Mr. Floyd X.
Yeah, I just want to salute to all of the Palisade alumni. Shout out to all my friends and people who went to Palisade. Salute y'all and hope y'all they rebuild the school and everything goes well. We're gonna jump into commercials now.
Yeah, let's go into commercials. Before I do that, hey, there was one school I left out. I meant to shout out, LA High. That was kind of all in that that same type of situation. And LA High was a school that went through the big earthquake and basically had to be transformed because it used to be the room 223, whatever that show was, and now it looks completely different. So Pacific Palisades is probably going to be going through the same type of situation. But go ahead, let's take it, Sarah.
Real quick, again, the first lady is out there doing the work. I want to post up where she's at. It was to donate for Dina, and I'm assuming they're accepting donations. If you want to donate to the victims of the fires and all that stuff, you could send it to this location, text that phone number or whatever, and get the information that they need. If you got toiletries, feminine hygiene product, baby supplies, socks, underwear, warm clothes, face masks, sanitary products, cases of water, reusable water bottles, and blankets. I'm sure it would be greatly appreciated if you have those to donate. So if you're in the area, make your way down there and donate. All right, let's jump into these commercials now. But, okay. Scoreboard. If you want to go watch these playoffs games, go check it out at the Scoreboard on Franklin Boulevard, 7123 Franklin Boulevard. Check it out. They got nice drinks, food, friendly environment. They got security, so you'll be in a safe place. Go check it out. La Brea Trucking for all of your trucking needs. East Coast to West Coast, West Coast to East Coast, North to South, South to West. Y'all saw the number at the end. Give them a call if you want to get something you haul. Give them a call if you want to get a U-Haul or you want to haul, something like that.
That's gobealive.org. Go get you some of that black honey. And if you want to get it live, you go over there to the Petty Vice in Venice or to the Afro City Marketplace at the Crenshaw Mall. And you can go get you some swag online as well. So, Sister Nija, we're going to bring you on. That's up.
Sex Talk will walk. I'm here in Dubai doing research for my show. But every Thursday, 9 p.m. I'm gonna leave it at that. I got a show in the books right now coming up Thursday at 9 p.m.
What's good, family? Mutant Politics coming back soon. We need a topic. We want something controversial and one that's going to evoke emotion. So let us know. Mutant Politics.
That's up.
I think, one more. We just did the Focus Up Show every Saturday at 9 a.m. Tune in, check us out. We try to give you riveting conversation and speak on relevant topics that's beneficial to the Black community. Keep you aware of things. The new Black media, the Focus Up Show. The Focus Up Show. Tune in. FocusUpShow.com. 5 years.
5 years.
Down for 5 years. steady growing. We got salute to all the people who the cast and the support, Brother Charles X, Brother Afro Agnostic, First Lady, El Poo, and nice guy, Mr. Walk, and myself. Salute to everybody who participate and contributes to the show. Greatly appreciate it. Real quick, before we bring on our brother KG Saddam, let me just do a. Maybe he want to talk sports. Come on, let me bring him in. See if he want to talk sports. Mr. Walk, introduce our brother to the show, please.
This is a rapper out of Los Angeles, California. He got a bunch. I was going through his catalog. I didn't know he was putting it down like that. He got Understand, Chances, Jet Fuel. Man, Experiment with the X. Yeah, what's going on? And the recent single out is Slauson Estates. Slauson, that sounds familiar. This KG Saddam. What's poppin', brother?
You hear us?
Can you hear us? Oh, he froze.
No, you're not frozen. I don't know if he hears us. We might have some technical difficulties to work out.
We should have did an audio.
You know what? Put him on solo so he sees that we're getting his attention. Hey, brother, hey, can you hear us?
Is that Obama phone, nigga? Oh, that got his attention.
Yes. Is it Micah? Is it?
Can you hear us? We can't hear you. All right.
Oh, he's having some.
We should have did a sound check. That's our bad.
Hey, you know what? Why don't you send him into the other link and try to work, you know what I'm saying, the test thing and try to work that out and come back to us. But we'll bring that brother. I thought he was like one of your. I forgot that he probably would have something to say about the local stuff. He's local. He talked about Slauson, but that having been said, let's go ahead and talk about some of this.
Real quick. My bad. I wanted to do my sports minute. 1 minute we talking about sports. This weekend is the playoff weekend. You know what I'm representing, that Green Bay. We're going to win. I know nobody believes in us, but we're going to win. Let me pull up the playoff picture real quick so we can know what we're talking about here. Where's the playoff picture? All right, here we go. Real quick. Who got this banner up? Get that out of the way. Okay. The Green Bay is playing the Eagles. We're gonna win. We're gonna win. The Washington is playing the Tampa Bay, Minnesota versus the LA Rams. And then you got the LA Chargers and the Houston Texans. And then you got the Pittsburgh and Baltimore. That's gonna be the first game of today. Denver and the Buffaloes. Okay. Any particular team y'all betting on or taking it all? No, not taking it all. Who's gonna win today? We'll get to that Super Bowl later.
Hey, put it up again. I'll tell you who I'm saying who I'm picking for each of these teams.
All right.
So that's gonna be. I'm thinking the Rams are gonna beat the Vikings. Washington's gonna beat the Bucks. Eagles, gonna beat the Green Bay. Chargers gonna whoop on Texans. The Ravens is gonna handle the Steelers, and the Bills gonna handle the Broncos.
I'm opposite whatever nice guy just said over MC Chan and Crush Grills.
Yes. So we're gonna let the $3 run on opposite of what?
Of everything opposite. I need a W.
All right. Anybody else got anything to say about it, or any picks or any comments?
I mean, the Ravens going to beat the Steelers today. The Texans will probably beat the Chargers, and then it comes Sunday. The Bills going to beat the Broncos. I do have Packers on upset alert for the Eagles.
Whoa!
I see Commanders sneaking by the Bucks, especially after a terrible game last week by the rookie over there inside of Washington. You know what I mean? So I think they got bounced back versus the Bucks, who's a real porous on offense. And then last but not least, those I think those Vikings going to get the Rams. My prediction is both LA teams is going to get knocked out. I don't think they're going to be in home because of the fires anyway. I think both LA teams get knocked out.
Dang, I did forget the fact they moved that to Arizona. That's a big deal, man. But yeah.
All right, let's do the comments real quick. We got the Mark Carm the 6th. Am I right? Good morning,
that is the
good afternoon,
sixth
gentlemen.
for Florida.
Peace River, Florida. Thank you for watching the show. Appreciate you. Then we got Big Cuz. I know y'all say we blocked him, but he says put that G-Bay cap. Come on, we gotta block him. I'm gonna do my due diligence to block him this time. Then we got an original founding member of the Focus Up show, Mr. Focus Up 213. Shout out to the Focus Up show, best show on the planet. Salute, brother. Salute. All right, where we at, Mr.
Well, I don't want to say I didn't really have a dog in the race, but we at the top of the hill, number one seed. But I do think that Green Bay is.
He says we. That's Detroit.
The Lions.
Detroit dude.
I think Green Bay, the NFC rivals, so I think they'll lose. But
Okay,
that's it.
Salute to the Lions.
All right,
So
it's probably time to be talking about the Fox. We still trying to get brother. He's gone. So we did support promote his music, but we'll bring him back another time. But what's going on with the Fox Sport freak offs? We went from we talking sports to talking sports.
Yeah, the Fox Sports freak off. They having a freak off around there. Everybody that's known, including the likes of Marcellus Wiley and Jason Whitaker, it was all known. It was all known around the store. And let me speak on it real quick. I'm not going to bash our sister. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to bash our sister because it's a culture at the NFL, not the NFL. Take it back. At these big media companies, it's a culture. People trying to get to the top, trying to win, and by any means, some people are by any means necessary want to win, and some of our sisters sleep their way to the top. Not all. Some sisters sleep their way to the top, and it's a bad practice. Don't do it because you'll never be respected.
Daddy love, baby. Daddy love. Freaknik parties at the Fox Studio. You see the love of my heartbreaker, baby, at the Fox Studios. Yes, it was going down up there. Yeah, you know it. You know it. Yeah, this is agnostics. You know where they don't belong in sports. You know goddamn well they shouldn't be there. All the testosterone, everything flowing. Yes, you look beautiful and you try to talk about sports. And then Cam Newton got the goddamn nerve to be some kind of advocate. He is the worst of them all. You remember the comments he made?
Yeah.
Like he was asking me a question. That's the culture of sports, bro. That's the truth.
Who the hell gave him a horn for that?
You got to respond.
I believe in some of what each of you have said, but just really quick, it's not just the culture of sports; it's the culture of every institution. I don't know why this was framed as a freak off when it is these are alleged discrimination type of lawsuit. And she not only put in sexual harassment, misogyny, but she also put in racism and ableism. So I think even if her particular case is not true, it still is. I know Floyd doesn't like me to go into beyond the singular specific case, but it points to a larger problem because we don't just see it in sports. We see it in Google. We see it in Apple. We see it in all institutions. So I think we need to sit back and kind of process what is going on here and how we can address the problem and not just, seclude it to a specific thing or frame it as a freak off.
Well, it ain't no problem. There is no problem. See, they have a podcaster, Angry Man. Gotta give him his props on this. He said men and women. Angry Man. He said if you want to eliminate sexual harassment, men and women should not work together. Because here's the thing. if they like you, if they think you cute or you're handsome or they're attracted to you, it's not sexual harassment. But if you ain't, he keep coming on to me, I'm filing a complaint. That's just what it is. Now, if it's consensual, of course, but they know that's always a card they can pull and be like.
Okay, I'm just saying, sexual harassment at the workplace is a new thing. It didn't even exist before the 70s. So you think we should go back and turn back the hands of time and go back to where it was before the 70s?
Men are attracted to women, bro. You've been in job situations where there's a young lady, you like, you look nice today. That could be sexual harassment.
Segregation.
Hey,
So there should be segregation in the workplace. Segregation in the workplace.
Let me say this.
I'm not gonna go there.
I don't think he wants segregation in the workplace. But what he's saying is that it was one way, like you say, back in the 70s. What has to happen, Mr. Walk, is that men and women have to be evolved and be mature enough to be able to work together. Men have to know they can't work when I'm listening to some people saying that they're having round tables, all these discussions, a lot of people are saying you can't, it's not the locker room. You can't go in there and see how many you can knock off and how much you're going to get so you can brag to the homies about who you hit.
That's not it. There is an attraction you have, bro. See, you work in I'm not going to put out where you work.
We're talking about sexual harassment, though, not just like attraction.
Listen, wait, hold on. It's predominantly men. There was. I remember when I was in the Navy. My ship had no women on there. This is right before they switched it. But across the way, my cousin, she was on a ship that had women on there. I was on her ship every day. I was like, God damn, I wish I worked on a tender. That's what they used to call them, a tender. I'm on her ship like, hey, how you doing? Looking good. All that shit. Would that be sexual harassment?
Mode. You was in savage mode. You was out hunting. You was hunting, right? You don't go to work.
Y'all don't be hunting?
You don't go to work to hunt. That's the professionalism.
Yeah, I know. We kind of, We don't exactly. We don't go to work to hunt, man. And, even if you segregate it, let me just say really quick. I went to Oaxaca, Mexico, and they have like this, the what do you call it? The UN agency that does like cultural artifacts and stuff. They're coming down here because they have all this Spanish architecture from the 15th century and stuff. But anyway, long story short, they have a monastery, and then the woman equivalent to a monastery down the block. So doing the excavation and all that, they found a tunnel. So even if you segregate people, they go find a way to get it on, man. And but that's, we have to be, as Floyd said, mature in the workplace. And you can be attracted. You can ask someone out. You can tell them you like them. That's not harassment. I mean, we were talking specifically about assault and harassment and things like that. That involve sexual discrimination, which is, these things came out as civil rights victories, and the implementation of agencies to deal and address with that before the 80s, it didn't exist. Women had no recourse, because I'm not saying that women are the only victims. Men are victimized and sexually harassed as well. But, it's primarily women, and folks didn't have no recourse back in the day. It was not illegal to discriminate on the basis of gender and to harass women sexually.
Hey, Student X, before I'm gonna give you the floor, but Big Cuz says men are hunters by nature. That's what separates us from wild animals. Despite the fact that we have instincts and are compelled to do something, we can actually think and go, you know what? Let's check down from that. So I'm saying it is our responsibility to check down from that. But Brother Student X,
unblock Big Cuz, unblock them.
What this is really all about is discipline. One's moral compass. So as a man, when we go into the workplace, we have to be mindful that that even a mere allegation could result in you no longer being employed. Or no longer having the ability to earn revenue. So there's a certain way you have to move in this type of environment, and for one just to move, without having a thought out process and strategy in place is just unwise today. So just going back to first and foremost, I would say the allegations in regards to Skip, I don't know. I never, heard those, before. Is it possible? That's the worst thing about the situation is that, of course, it's possible, but is it true? And we'll find out what happens with that. But in regards to Joy Taylor, I mean, man, the amount of simping I saw behind, the commentary that's taking place with this has just been, outright, just disappointing, to get caught up, with someone in the workplace, today, in the hourly that we live in now, screams of the individual not having discipline and just not having a strong moral compass, because Joy told you exactly what her thoughts were, in her own words. And she shares the same thoughts with women like Kamala Harris and others.
Ouch.
That they can use, this sexual coercion as a tactic to advance their careers. And as soon as they get put in a light that makes them look bad, then they're going to scream some improprietary, actions, against the man, and then now that man is going to come under fire. We'll see what happens at Charlie over there at Fox.
I'm so glad I held back that
I just
horn.
want to say, like, you got to, we don't know the truth. It should be investigated. They should have their day in court and all that stuff. But Fox News as an institution, I mean, how many, they got a bunch of sexual lawsuits already. They got plenty. They've multi-million-dollar payouts.
But that's not a shot. Anytime you have high-value men in positions, and then now you bring, some attractive, people who want to be on TV, at the end of the day, in a highly coveted position, Of course, we're going to see some situations like this, again, just based on the playbook that a lot of these women operate by, in general.
It's based on the playbook that the men operate by, because the men are in control of these institutions. Whenever you have men in control of institutions, you're going to have this problem. That's why it needs to be addressed in that framework. Not getting on men, but as the person kind of suggested, we are hunters. We've been socialized to operate a certain way. This is the traditional way. We've been doing this up until the 70s and the 80s. Like sexual harassment on the job is the ones that are reported are by statistical data computations and things that they do are only 10% of the sexual harassment is even reported. And that's about 8,000, 9,000 every year.
I'm not arguing with you that there's no such thing as sexual harassment. You're not going to find me saying that.
It's a problem.
Because that is a reality in the workplace. There's no doubt about it. But today we definitely have a system to where people can, be reprimanded, if you will, held accountable. But the problem is that we're seeing that in these situations that just the allegation, not even get into the fact, the facts of the case or the merit in the case, but the allegation is a career killer in and of itself. And that's a problem.
Skip Bayless was fired way before any of this stuff came out. But go ahead, Mr. Floyd, you were about to say something?
Real quick, I want to try to frame. I want to focus in on one particular part. As far as the sister Joy Taylor, is it possible for beautiful women, a beautiful lady, to be sleeping with a high-ranking somebody who can make decisions and be talented and get there only on her merit, and she's still sleeping with the boss? Is it possible to say, okay, that's foreseeable?
I don't understand the question. Anything's
possible. Right?
She's accused of sleeping and getting shows made.
Well, I thought the case was about Faraji.
Huh?
I thought it was her case.
Yeah, the case is about the hairstylist that was reporting all this stuff. But she accused Joy Taylor.
She accused Joy Taylor of sleeping around and how she advised her not to. And then when she came to Joy Taylor with her gripe, Joy Taylor was like, "Suck it up." So
right, exactly.
No. That's not everything. She said, "Suck it up." She said, I'll right now this dude is of use to me, but when he's of use to me, I'll do something about this."
She said she'll do something on the back end. Yeah.
She like, if I had to fuck him, you gotta fuck him too. Shit. Mm-hmm. That's my translation.
Yeah.
Let me try to answer your question. let me try to answer your question, Mr. Floyd X.
Yeah.
I'm saying that theoretically, you could be deserving everything that you get and then also be sleeping with this person. But this is this is sort of counterintuitive. You know what I'm saying? If you're earning this is not the type of thing you should be doing that's just gonna basically compromise. Yeah, mudding, well, she's muddying the waters as far as sleeping with this dude. I mean, she's almost admittedly, as being reported. We don't have her testimony, but as it's being reported, that she's acknowledging it. This is a strategy that she's had to use to get what she's got,
Well,
and she got it, so it worked.
Yeah, all oppressed groups have to do something. As Black people, we know when we get on the job, we whitenize our voice. We get the white voice a little bit more. We talk a certain way that we don't talk to, in the hood. Women have to, they know they being objectified. Some people
You
like
said all oppressed groups.
All oppressed groups.
Women is an oppressed group.
You say what?
Women is an oppressed group.
Yeah, as a group, as a demographic, yeah, they're an oppressed group. Black people are an oppressed group.
Wait a second, Mr. Floyd X. You're saying that
I think we
women
got
are
to block
oppressed?
agnostics. I think we got to block brother agnostics.
Women are an oppressed group? Where did this come from?
How do you define oppression, sir?
When somebody holding you back, right? And not allowing you to get ahead. Women can go as far as men go. If they got the charisma or the talent.
Why?
Oprah Winfrey. You say what?
I'm saying why?
Why can they go as far as men go?
Yeah, why? I mean, why can they? Like, I understand that legally they can do that now, but I'm just saying that's because of the victories from the 60s and the 70s, because of legislation that gave them.
Not true.
You don't think there's ceilings that women? You don't think there are extra obstacles that women have to face?
Hold on. First of all, women couldn't even, like, for instance, if they wanted to get a C-section, they had to get their husband's or man's signature for the C-section. You couldn't even get a credit card if you were a woman until the 60s. How you gonna be independent or operate? You deprived of having a credit card. You couldn't even, as a single mother, you couldn't even rent a home in your name.
Okay, you're talking about the
That's
class.
This is holding you back.
How are women oppressed today? How are they oppressed?
Okay,
the thing is not about, the thing is necessarily not about today, but I'm just saying that.
So how they oppressed?
Let me explain. That situation changed 40 to 50 years ago because of you had a social movement that forced that change. And people are fighting now, conservatives on the Trump side, to roll back those gains, like the abortion rights, right, bodily autonomy of a woman, different things like that. They're constantly being attacked and undermined. They're an oppressed group. They couldn't vote, bro. They couldn't vote. Women have been in the country since the 1600s. They couldn't vote as white women in the 1920s.
Hey, if they are oppressed,
can I answer that question? Can I answer that question?
Wait,
can I answer that question? Can I answer that question? Okay, so you're
telling me,
you think that women have you think it's easy for a woman to do something in society, anything, as it is as a man?
No, it's not as easy.
So that's and the reason why
there
it's
are
not
some
is because
things.
they're extra
There are some things that are easier.
You're muddying the point. My point is, I'm just saying that there's obstacles. It's just sort of like black people. You could, if you want to take that tack, you should say that there's nothing holding back black people. Black people can do anything that white people can do, and we know that that's bullshit because we know that black people, there's certain places that you can't go to. There's certain ceilings in the job places. I mean, you understand that there's things that happen that, as far as we're gonna talk about it if we get to it, how a certain person got convicted of a felony and he's not even going to get probation. He's going to be the president of the United States. That ain't some black people type stuff. That's some white people type stuff.
Who was in Rikers Island for what, 2 years and not even charged, just to show you the difference in terms of class and white privilege, in terms of sentencing in every area you can think of.
It ain't the middle. It ain't the Middle East over here, Mr. Floyd X. There's been great progress and great grounds, and women are getting more opportunities as the day goes. But we ain't there yet where we can just say that it's equal. So that's what I'm saying. If you're not equal, that's a form of oppression.
If you're not equal, no,
if there's not equity, that's what he's saying.
Listen, the playing field is being leveled for women, making it easier for them.
Let's put it like this. Let's flip it like this.
Easier.
Look at any institutions of power. Who do you find in positions of power in those institutions? You find men overwhelmingly, disproportionately, correct? Why do you think that is? Is it because things are equal?
Because they probably the better person for the job. They probably the one that put in the most hours. Like Skip Bayless. Joy Taylor didn't put in as much hours as Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith. Whitlock said it too.
So look at sports media as an
he was
industry.
not the one for the job. And he put his job on the line like
not to mention women are playing men's sports, you know what I mean? And on top of that, you know, so that perspective just alone, if you're missing that, you're already
they're playing women's sports. They're playing women's sports that are big deals. Like tennis, women's tennis is more popular than men's tennis. I mean, you know, there's a lot of women's sports out there. Tennis. Well, I'm just saying, you know, there's
okay, in every area, man, just from simple insurance, if you're a woman, you don't get certain things that pertain to a woman. They're not covered. Insurance companies don't cover them in the same way. There's every area of life is impacted by this. Women are doubly oppressed. They suffer from racism and they suffer from sexism. I don't understand why do we think we win the oppression Olympics? Like there's only one oppressed group. There's several oppressed groups in the United States. It's not a big deal. I'm saying women have been historically oppressed. And that translates to today. When you see the disparity, how do you explain the difference in income, the difference in entrepreneurism? And
the fact that someone needs to say that Kamala Harris slept her way to the top to me is an absolute testimony to this.
And that's an
absolute fact. You know what I mean? Is the problem that some people have, you know?
Check it out. Notice the parallel, though. Notice the parallel between that and the DEI hires. You know, everybody is a DEI hire. If it's a woman, she slept her way to the top. Who is this coming from? Obviously, white men.
Hey, because said something relevant. Because said the comment, he said we getting off topic. We're supposed to be talking about the Fox freak offs. We didn't.
You wanted to talk about sexual harassment, so we basically didn't. It was undescribed, but you actually offered that up as a topic. But we can pivot on to the next thing.
All right. Well, I mean, so we done with that one? We done with
We're done with it.
Fox freak off. Get your money, Joy.
Sexual harassment. Sexual harassment.
So what we want to do next? What's next? Trump?
Well, we might. Well, let's talk about Let's talk about Trump. We only got a whole bunch of time, so let's talk about the sentencing. So as Mr. Walk talks about, you know, we can go a little bit longer after that since we're going to have that. But Mr. Walk says that, you know, Democrats are still fighting a fight that's been lost. And, you know, to me, this is strictly a criminal matter. This isn't an issue of politics. This isn't an issue of Democrats or Republicans. I mean, I understand that, you know, that the people that had initiated this thing may be of a political orientation. But, you know, this is strictly a function of the law. The law played out. A jury played out. You know, the jury is the jury. The jury saw the evidence. They performed their civic duty, and they came up with a decision. This decision is the case. Glad he's not going to jail. I didn't want him to go to jail. He's going to be the president. Let the president be the president. The people elected him. But that having been said, let's not ignore the fact that he is a convicted felon. That's a reality.
Negro, please. It's so many people that get convicted and go to prison for the rest of their lives that didn't do the crime. There's so many instances like that. Come on now, don't play that. See, you can't cherry pick like, oh, the system worked, but that time, oh, I'm sorry, he died in prison. He didn't even do it. Come on, it's a corrupt system. Either way,
are you saying that I said the system? Are you saying that I said the system worked?
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I'm not
That's
saying
what
the
it
system
sounds like,
worked. Well, let me clarify. The system absolutely did not work. The system absolutely did not work because a person convicted of a felony crime is not dealing with any repercussion.
Well, first of all, let's keep it real. Of all the crimes that he was committed in, the one that he did get convicted in was the most flimsy, the most irrelevant, the one that no one cared about, you know. And again, you know, when we say convicted, we're going to be doing air quotes on a regular basis on this for eternity, you know. And the only people that's really going to bring this up is going to be deranged, liberals at the end of the day, you know. So no one's looking at this like a real conviction. He's not doing any jail time. All the other cases are gone. They're done. There's nothing. Like we said from the beginning, this was a witch hunt. This is what we call lawfare. And, you know, the right thing happened at the end of the day.
So he's probably going to be appealing this because nothing means nothing, right? He's still fighting this. He's still complaining and griping because this is just nothing, right?
No, I think at the end of the day, he doesn't want the Democrats to be able to say, "Oh, you're a convicted felon." You know what I mean? Because
What does it
that would
matter
get
what
on
they
one's
say?
nerves at a certain point in time. You know what I mean?
What
So I
does it
get it.
matter what they
Well,
say? What does it matter what they say? He doesn't care what they say. You
It's,
think
yeah,
that that's
he
his real
does
I
care.
issue?
mean, I
He
see him
does
just to
care.
take one more thing from him,
It's
so
gonna
they
be a
have like
blemish
nothing
on
that
his
came
whole
about this.
legacy.
Wait, that's not what I said. I said he doesn't care what the Democrats say. I didn't say he doesn't care the fact that he's convicted felon. I think he absolutely cares because that's why he's going to appeal and that's why he has been griping. I'm saying it matters.
The article that you sent me mentioned that he can have his liquor license snatched from him. They kind of delayed. They didn't renew it like they were supposed to. So because
And that's a big deal in New York. Those liquor licenses. That's a big deal in New York. Those liquor licenses.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Gold.
That's in Jersey. That's the casino right there on the boardwalk. And if you don't have liquor, man, you might as well close down. So I don't know how he's going to finesse that. It'll be interesting. That's a blue state. I don't know how they. I don't know.
Trump get it from all sides. Like even in Las Vegas, where his casino, like it was like no gambling at this casino or something, to where it's just like a hotel where it's not making as much money. Because a lot of time he leases his name out. Of course, he's not the owner, but it's a lot of fallout from just him being Trump. So
In case you didn't catch what I was doing, this is the world's smilest violin playing just for Trump. So, Mr. Student X,
Why do you feel that he's innocent? What information are you pulling this?
I never said that he's innocent or guilty. I'm saying no one.
He said that. He said you. He said Student X.
Student X. Yeah, Student X.
Now, when we say innocent, I made it very plain, for a very long time that these charges was trumped up from the gate. All of them, was trumped up. This is something that, in the so-called Black community, it should be well known to see charges manufactured, out of, the thin air, a lot of mustard and mayonnaise being put on something, and it was done for political purposes. So, I just don't appreciate that, being done to anybody, because I'm looking at it from the lens of, if it can happen to this white man running for president of the United States, it most assuredly can happen to me. You know what I mean?
And that's what you needed. And that's what you needed to know that. You didn't know that before. it was Trump being oppressed. The next thing was damn. If something bad does Trump, something can happen to bad does Black people. I mean, he's not.
Again, we're talking
about.
Supposedly lawfare was a thing of the past, but no, it showed that was alive and well and present. All those charges were absolutely trumped up. We're changing the law just so we could make a law now so that we could bring and charge him.
In this specific case, what leads you to that conclusion? Have you followed the case? I haven't followed the case.
Yeah. Well, we followed the case. We covered the case. Not only here on the Focus Up show, but we also did some commentary on immune politics as well. We gone through it.
So the evidence, you're saying the evidence was flimsy, not well supported.
Fellas, I gotta go. And salute to all you guys. Respect. Happy New Year's. God bless. Nice seeing all you guys again.
All right, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, not to rehash everything, but again, at the end of the day, with this particular case, there was never any injured party at all, that was brought into the mix, and then there was, this is dealing with tax preparation and purposes, something that Trump himself wasn't even involved in that process, and something dealing with his lawyer, and whatnot. I just thought, like I said, from the beginning, this was just ridiculous to me that we were.
I haven't followed the case.
It helped Trump, because that mugshot is what ended up being the catalyst for this whole election cycle. You know what I mean? On the time cover, they're showing, I don't know about the time cover, but in general, I saw it to where they showed that mugshot and then the time cover, man of the year and whatnot, and just showing how far the individual had came, and how unpredictable it was.
Do you believe in power dynamic situations like politicians, people in power? Do you believe that hush money is like typical, is normal practice?
I mean, absolutely.
Okay, but you think Trump
Yeah,
is immune from
absolutely.
that in this particular case?
Say again?
You think Trump is immune from that, which is normal in this particular case for some reason?
Yeah. Again, going back from what I saw in this case, there was no crime here, and it was nothing
That's
that
the thing about
was
it.
relevant of the taxpayers' money,
That
being
blows my mind
wasted,
when you say
in
that. That
order
blows
to
my mind.
get a
That
verdict
blows
ultimately
my
that there's
mind when
no
you say
jail
that.
time that's going to be seen at all, and other than saying that he's a convicted felon, if that's what this was all about, then that speaks for itself. It was
The
weak.
only reason why he's not being convicted
Because he's
is
president.
because he's the president. That's it. I'm just telling you. I'm sorry, he's convicted. That's the only reason why he's not doing any jail time. This was an absolute crime. You sit here and say, "Oh, there's." It's one thing to say that, look, this is not something that should have been brought to court. That's a legitimate argument that you can make. But it is breaking the law. It's just like buying DVDs from the DVD man in front of Spartan Finals. I mean, Food for Less. You know what I'm saying? There's things that you do. It's illegal. I'm just saying it. You can sit there and say it's not a big deal. That's an argument you can make. But I'm just telling you, he 100% broke the law. That's a fact.
And I would think his $1 million
No,
lawyers.
and that's what the disagreement is. And clearly, like I said, at no jail time. This is all symbolic, and the symbolism is.
So his $1 million lawyers couldn't make the point that you're making. They couldn't convince the jury or whatever. They couldn't make his $1 million lawyers couldn't make the point. There was no evidence, and they couldn't argue, but they still got convicted. He's paying these lawyers millions of dollars. I think, man, look, he did it. He got caught up. He's using his white privilege to not do the time. It was him who delayed the process because he was running for president. He paid his lawyers, they paid for it or whatever you do for that to delay the process until after the election was over. If it was during the election, he would have been sentenced, and that would have prohibited his running, his campaign.
Yeah. Again, this is the weakest of them all. And if this was the win, for the Democrats, it just to be able to call him a convicted felon, and that's all. That's
the thing
about it. He delayed it. Trump delayed it.
I hope they're happy.
Trump delayed
it. It's not a win. It's not a win for the Democrats. You see, that's what I'm saying.
I agree. It's not a win for the Democrats at all.
But I'm saying this is a criminal prosecution. This was an actual case that went before a legit jury that saw the evidence, saw the letter of the crime. I'm just telling you, it's not the easiest thing to convict somebody because you got to have a unanimous 12 people, all this other stuff. All you need is one person to sit there and go, I don't know, and then boom, this whole thing blows up. Saying that you are glossing over that it's extremely difficult to prosecute a person of his fame, of his power on this type of situation if you don't got the goods. I'm just saying that it just doesn't work like that. Now you can make all the argument that this has never amounted to much of anything. We shouldn't have even bothered with this. I'm not going to argue that. That's a legitimate argument. But I'm just telling you, the law is very black and white about what he did and what he shouldn't have did. He did it for the reasons that they said he did it, and that's why he got convicted. But he's not going to have to do any time. So, hey, again, if the captain, if the captain is the captain of the boat that I'm on, I don't want that I don't want him to sink either because we're in the same boat. So I'm hoping that he figures out whatever needs to be figured out during the course of his presidency. And we'll see how it plays out. I'm not anticipating the greatest of things, but I'm hopeful. That's all I got to say about that. But if you wanted to say something about the January 6th thing, I want to give you that opportunity before Floyd.
I just want to say, man, because like that boat analogy, I'm not feeling that. I'm thinking about the slave boats, people at the bottom of the boats. So I just have to say that.
Let me hear what you say about that. That's a good argument. I'll say this. To me, it's always when I'm throwing away my life, it's one thing, but there's something to be said about the fact that we survived, that our ancestors made it through whatever they made it through for us to have what we have now, as opposed to just being instinctive with their. I think there's an argument to be made, but I feel what you're saying. This ain't one of those type of boats, so that's why I don't think that analogy holds up. But I agree with you. You know what I'm saying? I do agree with you. It's a good analogy. Let's do the next. I want to give you an opportunity to address the January 16th. First of all, we had a smooth transition of power. You know what I'm saying? The Democrats did what they said they would do and what they expected should have been done that wasn't done 4 years ago. And President Trump, he's going to be the president. That's the situation. But did you want to speak about the confirmation, or did you want to speak about the right?
I mean, I don't necessarily need to speak on anything other than the fact that it's a fact. He was confirmed. It was a fact that he won the election decisively. And it's a fact. That back then, 4 years ago, that this whole J6, so-called insurrection was just like all the court cases that was brought against Trump were manufactured. There was a lot of mustard and mayonnaise put on things, and here we are. 4 years removed from that incident to where the man's going back inside the office. And people on the left still want to continue to ignore the fact.
This was manufactured for X.
I'm just saying, like, man, there's like thousands.
Was this manufactured?
There's thousands and thousands of hours of footage on this.
Yeah, you're right. Thousands of hours of footage, and then what it does not rise up to the standard of being what we would call an insurrection. And the evidence in that is the fact that not one person, including Trump, has been convicted of insurrection. No one.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
A lot of people got convicted. If you're saying
no, sir, there's not one person that was convicted of insurrection. Now there are other charges that you'll find, but you will not find one to be an insurrection. So the fact that once again that many of you were just fooled into believing that this was something more than what anyone is a testament to how powerful the media is.
I don't think anyone in the history of U.S. criminal law has been charged with insurrection. You don't get charged with insurrection. You get charged with like assault, violence.
There is on the penal code. There is insurrection that is inside the penal code.
You're not talking about
and so one can be charged with that. If indeed rises to that, their actions rise to that level. That's not what this was. This was, I would agree with the terminology of being a riot. I agree with that. You know what I mean? And now,
so it was a riot.
Yeah, you call it riot? Yeah, I put in the same category as many of the Black Lives Matter protests and whatnot. The only difference is this was there on Capitol Hill, right there, at the people where the people do business, and then Nancy Pelosi and others.
What type of business were they doing? What type of business were they doing?
Say again?
What political business were they doing that was disrupted by the riot? What type of business was it?
You said what political action were they doing?
Yeah, what you said where people do business, and I was just saying what type of business were they doing when they were interrupted by the rioters?
Yeah, well, at that moment, they were going to be certifying the election. So that's what was being interrupted, and that was where the people who were gathered outside, many of them were there because they did not agree that election was indeed, one that was free and fair, and that's why, and they had a constitutional right to gather, there, and then, then there definitely were some other actions that those thousands of hours of videos reveal that ultimately led to, many people coming inside of the Capitol building itself, I got
a poll question I'd like to throw around to everybody. Okay. Mr. Floyd X, you can hear me, right?
Yes.
What do you think would have happened if those people would have got a hold of Nancy Pelosi or Michael Pence?
I believe she would have been injured or killed. And Mike Pence also, they would have been injured or killed.
Brother Afro Agnostic, what do you think would have happened if that crowd would have got a hold of Nancy Pelosi?
Absolutely, they would have been killed. There's a long history of this. People don't know. Benjamin Franklin was almost killed in a similar incident. There's a long secessionist type of insurrectionist history with white people doing this. But yeah, they would have been killed immediately.
Okay. Mr. Student X, I got a question for you. What do you think that crowd would have done had they gotten their hands on
not a damn thing? Because first of all, if there ever was even a real threat like that to those individuals, then they would have absolutely, signed legislation and allow for more protection to be there on Capitol Hill. Like I said, this was manufactured.
So they didn't hide. So they didn't hide
As a matter of fact,
so they
the
didn't hide and lock
people
themselves
there
in a
were
room.
escorted inside of that building. You know what I mean? You know, and allowed to be inside of that building. You know, so
Strategically to
there's no
deter
one that
them
would have been
away from where
hung
the people were.
those ceiling of the legislative chambers and whatnot. And you know,
I got another poll.
But
Got
the
another
leaders,
poll.
hold on, the
Got another
leaders of
poll.
the, let me just say the leaders of the riot, like the Proud Boys, they have a history of beating people up, assaulting people. So you don't think they would have, but all that anger, them explicitly saying that's what they were going to do, if they would have got their hands, you have a lot of faith in these white conservatives.
Yeah, no. What I have a lot of faith in was that the majority of the people who were present that day were there for one reason only, and that is they did not agree that this election was free and fair and it had been tampered with, and that's why the majority of people were there. But now, were there agents? Were there provocateurs? Were there others there that had other motives present? Absolutely. You know what I mean? So it's not, I'm not minimizing anything. I'm calling it like it is. The problem is that too many of us believed in all of the extra that was put on this to make it look like more than what it was, you know, and I'm coming at this with a sober mind.
What the people said they were going to do. They said, they had, you know, what they call the thing that you hang a person from. They had gallows. They had a gallows. They took to the gallows.
Right. And so all this, but still yet a lack of police, a lack of deployment of the forces, the National Guards or whatnot. You see what I'm saying?
Blaming,
it doesn't add up. If the people, intelligence directives saw all this and knew that there was such a great threat, then there would have been people in position, a greater presence that was there, but we did not see that.
Mr. Student X, you are blaming a woman who's dressing provocative for getting raped. For dress, you're blaming a woman that got raped.
I'm doing at all, brother.
It is because you're basically saying it because they didn't prepare enough. You know, it's okay that they did what they did.
Right. Your argument you just made is the equivalent of what many liberals and Democrats do. You know, when they can't get their point across, they'll start saying that, okay, Trump is Hitler, you know what I mean? And all this other type of stuff, adding all this extra into it. And again, that's not what's taking place here. You know, again, from my perspective, from what I'm seeing, the people that I interacted with, what I was observing, you know, what I was following up until that day that event was about to take place, you know, and none of this was predicted. You know, although there was talks in terms of there being, you know, elements that were going to be there that were provocateurs, you know, those elements absolutely end up being there. There was a few people acting a fool, and then things combusted. You know, that's what took place. But again, to call it an insurrection, that's where I'm calling, you know what I mean, you know, a BS.
Well,
you know what I mean? It wasn't insurrection. Was it some people that was, you know, upset about the process and whatnot? Did it turn into a riot? Yes.
Did you understand my analogy, Mr. Floyd X?
Which one?
When I talked about how, you know, because when you blame someone for not doing their job for preventing, I think there's something to be said or something or encourage or whatever. But I'm just saying that when the person is actually doing the thing that's whatever, you know what I'm saying, that there's levels of fault or levels of accountability. And I'm just saying that he's not giving any accountability to the people that actually forcefully busted in and did all this stuff.
Nah, bro, a better comparison.
He's basically saying the people that didn't defend, the people didn't account for this enough in advance. That's where all the fault lies. And I'm saying that if you didn't do something that you were supposed to do, or I'm gonna give you some fault. But the bulk of the fault is gonna lie on the people that actually did the wrong. And the people that did the wrong would be these people. I'm just saying that you're making excuses.
I'll give you a better analogy. The better analogy would be what we're talking about today here in California, Southern California in particular, you know, are these fires. There were those that were responsible for the management, for the mitigation process, to where in the event to where said fire erupts, that a sufficient response could happen to minimize lives lost and damage created. So here, going back to J6, if we have a group of people that say that they saw this extreme threat that existed, that was a threat to our democracy, then it will only make sense that they had the deployed security and forces necessary to mitigate that situation, that reality. And if they did not, then we will look at them as being derelict in their duty. All right. The same thing, again, back to the fire.
But do you understand?
Was
it a migrant that caused the fire? Was it a homeless person that caused the fire? I don't know, but the fire started. And so now, we have to put the fire out, and we have leadership that's in position to manage these systems that is responsible for putting that out. And if there was mismanagement there, there's accountability there.
I'm saying, but those two things can happen at the same time. We can all agree.
I don't disagree with that fact.
People unprepared, and then there were people responsible.
I don't disagree with that at all.
Other people were unprepared.
But what I'm saying is that the masses, the majority of the people present there that day, in that moment, their intentions were not, that which was, being perpetrated in the media in terms of this being an insurrection. That the masses, the majority of people there, that's not what they were for. They were there to protest the fact that they didn't feel that this was a free and fair election. They weren't there to kill Pelosi. They wasn't there to go break into the building, break down all the windows. But those things happen. And like a lot of times, speaking of comparing apples to oranges, in this situation, we had some bad apples that were present, you know what I mean? And then it led to what it led to.
Well, I'm saying there were some people that went there with those intentions.
Well. Agreed, but they were a minority. They were a minority.
I wouldn't necessarily say they were a minority, and I would say there was a significant number, and it doesn't matter whoever else does what, because some people who went there with those intentions went there and didn't do shit. Some people didn't go there with those intentions and end up doing shit. That's how riots work. But we know that the oath takers, the Proud Boys, they are responsible. They need to be held accountable. Would you agree to that? Those different organizations that orchestrated, including Trump?
No, I think that, if some people were to look and analyze the evidence, and then, if there are those that were involved in violent acts, they need to be held accountable. You know what I mean? No doubt about it. And
some of them are. Trump is going to release them, give them clemency.
And some of them, he absolutely said he would, and there are absolutely several that are in custody that need to be released. Some already have, even prior to Trump coming to office under a Biden DOJ, because it was looked at that there were some people that were, wrongfully, convicted, i.e. the gentleman that had that crazy looking hat on and looking like a Viking or something, you know what I mean? That dude got freed a long time.
You're talking about the
shaman boy. They call him.
Yeah, where his name is. I don't even know his name, you know what I mean? But like I said, there was, again, a lot of, extra that was put on this, which has been something the Democrats been doing. They did it with Russiagate, you know what I mean? They've been doing it, the whole time.
Well, I'm saying you got 150 plus injured police. That's not extra. That's just the data. That's just what was the outcome of that riot. You have how many people dead? 4, 5? That was the outcome.
There was one person killed, and that was one of the ones that were present. The woman that was present. She was
and then 5 other people died died as a result of
suicidal.
Yeah.
Well, you could count that if you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm gonna count it because if A didn't happen, then B didn't happen. Then they'd be good.
If that didn't happen, something else would have happened. You know what I mean? And they would have the same outcome more likely.
If you watch First 48, you'll see how there'll be a group of people. Maybe one person is the shooter. Other dudes just in the car with him. But what happens is the shooter gets murdered, the person in the car gets murdered, everybody gets murdered because in a lot of these cases,
felony murder rule doctrine, and that is a great doctrine that should be on the books.
And I think it is too. And that's why I'm telling you that Trump irresponsibly created a situation where multiple people died from, and he didn't have any
Trump would disagree with that, and so would I. I would say if anyone was held accountable for this, it would be the deceivers that were behind the vote count itself. They're adding, these extra votes that were coming out of nowhere. You know what I mean? There was a lot of problems with that electoral process.
So those police officers should have been assaulted.
And here we are, and
people should have died because of it. So those police officers should have been assaulted. and people should have died because of it.
Yeah, no. If anything, I will hold Pelosi and the rest of the people that did not properly deploy adequate resources on the scene, to where police would not have been overwhelmed, and they would have held that crowd in check. They should be held accountable.
If I break into your house and you don't have accessibility to your gun, you don't have the magazine, you don't have bullets in your gun, you're not prepared, it's your fault?
That would, I mean, first of all, if me being a man and holding myself accountable for everything that happens in my space, I will hold myself accountable for that. Absolutely. You know what I mean? But like you said, before, two things can be true. Obviously, someone with criminal intent that decided to come and breach my place, a residence, they're absolutely at fault. You know what I mean? But
that's the point that we're making.
If I was not prepared.
But you're not holding the other people. You're only holding one. You're angry about, or you seem to be you have an issue with what Nancy Pelosi didn't deploy, but you're ignoring what Trump did deploy. I'm just saying that, to me, I see that as hypocrisy.
No, I don't have an issue with any of it. Like, the only issue I have is that I think it's pretty weak, that so many people, obviously on the left, and from a liberal mindset, will look at that event and honestly want to bill it and call it an insurrection when it was not that. You know what I mean? That's the only issue I have, with the situation. Okay. Like, damn, really? You know what I mean? This is what we're going to really, call this particular event right here an insurrection. People taking selfies and cell phones and whatnot.
Yeah, I think it was an attempted insurrection. They wanted to oust the elected president-elect, and they wanted to reinstitute the president that lost the race. They wanted to stop the government.
That wasn't why the majority of people were there. Whether some fringe groups with those type of thoughts,
it's not an issue about the majority. It's not an issue about the majority. I just Googled insurrection. It says a violent uprising against an authority or government.
Damn,
that's it. That literally occurred. It literally occurred.
I mean, you agree with that one. The definition.
What's that?
Read the definition.
I said insurrection, a violent uprising against an authority or government. I just looked up the definition. Matter of fact, I screenshot it. If I can remember where my screenshot button is, but I know the Floyd X is over there. He's still around. Maybe he could. And this keyboard is.
So, are you asking me? Do I agree that that's the definition?
You agree that a violent uprising against an authority or government occurred
on January 6th?
Yeah, no, not at all.
It was nonviolent.
No, like I said, it was a protest.
And so there was no violence that happened.
Sure, there was violence. It was a protest.
So how is it not violence if violence was done?
We mean how was it not violence? We acknowledge that clearly there was violence, if you will, that took place from both sides of the aisle, whether it be from initially law enforcement firing a canister, that ended up hitting someone in the head, that ended up being part of the instigating and a spark that started to, be allowed the crowd to be able to be moved. That was a violent act. But then obviously, people forcing their way, scaling walls, pushing themselves through the window and whatnot.
There was some evidence that that there were people who supported Trump who were a part of the police force, and they kind of, for that reason, had their people not respond like they should have, or initially, or in terms of being prepared. But I was just wondering if, I think one of the things too is that it wasn't a black protest. What do you think? And this is both of y'all. If it was black, if there was like an anticipation of Black Lives Matter, you think they would have been underprepared in that instance? Whoever want to go first.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Black Lives Matter did have a protest at the Capitol before. All they were doing was like reading the Bible, some simple type of stuff. They were on top of those people. I'm just saying this actually happened. Yeah, it actually happened. So I'm just saying that, this was another example of white privilege, just everything about it. You know what I'm saying? As far as Fox News was live talking about how terrible this was until basically, Trump exerted his power, his political power, and everybody just basically started backtracking and whatever. Again, I don't think everybody's saying that everybody went there to do violence. We don't necessarily think that whatever.
I'm making it even more plain than that. I'm saying that the majority was not there for that.
I don't
So
care if the majority. That's like saying the majority of the people in the car that did the shootout. The majority of the people in the car didn't do the shooting.
Yeah, they do the
But you know what
drive-by.
I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. First of all, there were people there from all walks of life, all type
There was
of
4 people in the car when
beliefs
Tupac
and
was shot.
whatnot.
Only one
Exactly.
shot, but still,
Yeah,
everyone else
exactly.
was complicit, you know.
But I remember. Let me give you my own example. Just to help you all kind of understand this a little bit better. We were involved. When I say we had some brothers, and we were involved in some different our protests and different movements around the greater Sacramento area. And this was during the Occupy movement. And it was myself, Brother Yusuf, and a few other people. We were involved in this activity, and then while we were there, out of nowhere, we see these a few people. It was only a few of them, but they were all dressed in black, and they were just started like throwing stuff, from where we were at, throwing stuff at the police and doing stuff. Me and the brothers, we had to grab those cats, throw their ass to the ground, check them, and tell them to get off the set and scene because they were acting as provocateurs. You know what I mean? And trying to mingle them away to what it is that we had going on, not to be supportive of our, a vested interest of being there, but because they had their own, MO. Their own purpose for being there, and later on we would learn that those were called, Antifa, those type of individuals. And then we would go on to see these individuals, mix themselves up in all sorts of protests, whether it be left wing, right wing, and whatnot. And I'm saying that not only did we have that present that day during J6, but on top of that, we had FBI agents, who were, in plain clothes, which oftentimes many of them would be considered be plain clothes. We had agents that were there, among that crowd, but what we didn't have, was a uniform, large police and our military presence to act as a deterrent. And what I'm saying is that is absolutely negligent if there was intel made available to those in authority.
We all agree that was
had the potential to happen.
We all agree that there's fault on that. We all agree that they mishandled it. There's no debate on that. We're saying that they mishandled it.
But what you don't understand is that the majority of people there were not there for some so-called insurrection, which was
it doesn't matter what they were there for. It matters what they did.
They were there because
I don't know if you answered the question.
And myself included, did not believe that election was free, fair, and right.
Let me answer another question real quick, because I don't think you answered the question as far as if BLM would they have ramped up their presence. But if there was proof,
yes, it would, of course. But first of all, I've been to the anniversary of Million Man March and whatnot in DC in the very spot, and absolutely, the presence that was there, for an event that had a history of being peaceful. Because the first Million Man March, we all know how peaceful that was, and how clean the mall was left and everything else. This was an anniversary as such. They still had a large presence that was there.
We can't overlook the fact that this was an impromptu thing. It was an impromptu thing. Go ahead.
Okay, just a quick question. So, if there was evidence going back to of election fraud and so forth, if there was evidence of election fraud, do you think Fox would have paid billions and billions of dollars in the lawsuit against
the Dominion
election and another election company too? You think they would have paid if it was two different ones? You think they would have paid billions of dollars if there was evidence of election fraud?
Hey, remember when they hired the Ninja? Don't forget that they hired the Ninja company to go out there do the counting. And they verified that the counting was correct.
I would say just like it is in many occasions to where whether it be a company or an individual pays out money, to another, it is not admitting guilt or innocence for that matter. You know what I mean? And so in this event right here,
of dollars.
yeah, bro, do you know how much Fox News makes in advertising?
That's not nuisance money.
You know what I mean?
That's not nuisance
On an
money.
annual basis. You
That's
know what I
not
mean?
saying
So the money they
payoff
paid
money.
out, it dwarfs in comparison
Well,
to
why
the
would they
capital
pay-
they bring in.
But
You know,
why
and so
would
for them to go ahead and be free and clear of this, you know, do whatever they need to do to continue to get these advertisers and whatnot.
But
You know,
why
of
would
course
they
do
pay?
what they
I'm
need
saying-
to do. It's an
why would-
economic decision.
Why would they pay that amount of money if there was no evidence?
Right. Why would Fox News part company with their most popular and successful host, period, on their platform, who later went on to start his own platform and now has just as much influence, if not more, than the entire platform of Fox News? Why would they do that? They made a mistake. They made a mistake. They were wrong. They made a miscalculation. You know what I mean? You know, and or they had others that were telling them, hey, you know what I mean, this person got to go or you're not going to get our support. Ask Joe. Joe had to leave from being the president nominee of the Democrat Party because the backers came and said, we're not giving you guys any more money if Joe's going to be the one to run. You guys got to find somebody else. Joe got replaced. They brought in Kamala. The rest is history. You see what I'm saying?
Fox paid $787 million for something that they were innocent of. There was no evidence against them. They just said, man, I'm going to just give y'all that, man, so y'all can just shut up.
The cost of doing business.
Student X, let me just give you a little bit of law game since I'm in the law industry. Usually they have this thing called nuisance value. So usually when you want to pay for something, it's not an issue defending when you're right or wrong. You just want to make something go away. That's usually going to be a function of if we're going to spend more money defending ourselves than just paying you, you know, the function of we could pay our lawyers or we could pay this person and be away with it.
That's a tactic.
This is the logic you do. Not for that type of amount. You weren't going to be paid. That's not no legal fee. Those type of numbers and stuff like that. That's a function of you did not have the goods.
Numbers are peanuts compared to what that network makes, bro.
Hold on. Let's let him finish.
Listen. I'm just telling you. You have exposure. If you found guilty or whatever, something like that, yes, there's punitive stuff where they can start going off your portfolio and stuff like that. But if you don't have the goods, you know, if you just basically like, look, I'm just doing my journalistic integrity. This is my source, or these are my means, or this is where I'm coming from, or this is what I based it on. This is going to show you what you did. Will defend you. Now, I'm just saying that. Now, I understand in media, they don't like to necessarily give up their sources, but this was a situation where they made up something that absolutely was not true. Now, just because the Dominion thing wasn't true doesn't mean other things weren't true. You know what I'm saying? We always talk about
that's
things.
You and I disagree with that on that issue right there, because the news network was paying for what a host said. You know, so ultimately the network was the one that was held accountable. You know, at the end of the day,
they were held accountable because what he said was 100%
not because
true.
Since then the said host has gone on, started another platform, and has still asserted the same claims, provided witness testimony, the whole 9 yards for those who want to go ahead and participate in consuming the content, you know what I mean? And then they've been able to see for themselves and make a decision on their own. You know what I mean? But Fox paid that fine because it was a cost of doing business. That what was required for them based on, whatever the calculus was used to come up with that number. They paid it, and they continue to go on and be a successful platform. They're still making hundreds of millions of dollars, you know what I mean? And it's done. You know what I mean? But yes, to answer your question, is yes, if you're accountable for something, which they were accountable, for having someone on their platform that said some things that the powers that be did not agree with, you know what I mean? The agreement was pay us some money, get rid of that host. And they thought that the powers that be thought that was going to be it. But it wasn't it, because said host now has a bigger platform and doing outstanding and bringing us interviews that we never would have saw on Fox News.
Student X, it was 100% it because they removed themselves from liability. They purchased exactly what they wanted and they got it.
You saying Carlson Tucker is out here telling truth?
Yeah, I know. That's a whole other issue. That's a whole other episode, but that hasn't been said. Thank you for watching this. thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. We again share. We appreciate your support. Cram brother, we love your comments. Because we big time, appreciate all of this stuff that you say. And we basically appreciate everybody. You got something to say. And again, we love Student X on here because even though he offers a different take, that doesn't mean he's wrong. You know what I'm saying? So we just try. A lot of times we just try to understand it. I absolutely disagree with that take there, but that's
oftentimes
why
the contrarian pick is the one, is the winner. Let me remind you of that. You know what I mean? So
We're supposed to be the maker, the owner, the queen of planet Earth, man.
Bro, that's exactly what it is, and then and if you are that, then like I said, you can't allow a devil to fool a Muslim. You know what I'm saying? Let me say that you can't allow a devil to fool a Muslim. So
and that's why I try to reduce things to math, and I'm just saying that when you just put the simple math up, like when you put up that definition, I mean, it is what it is. I feel like you're making an argument that's a legitimate argument that's true. I think what you're saying is true. Just don't think that you're facing the point that we're talking about. When you say the majority and all this stuff, that's the truth. You know what I'm saying? When you're talking about what people necessarily went there to do, I'm sure the majority weren't thinking that it was going to play out how it was going, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm not disagreeing with any of that. I just think that you're sort of like ducking. You're doing like Bill Clinton when he was being interviewed about Monica Lewinsky. You're not facing head on where we're saying that, look, we understand that you can make this. They did not prepare for this. Even though this was something that was impromptu, this was something that wasn't organized, that was supposed to be done.
No. It was impromptu to some of the people, but there was a core organizing body behind that planned that. And this is typical of any type of insurrection.
My main point is that this was no insurrection.
I just meant it's for them to know that these people are going to be showing up on the Capitol doorsteps type situation. But that having been said, again, we appreciate you. Thank you for liking, subscribing. Share to help us boost up those numbers. And it's very important that you subscribe. And that having been said, we are out of here. Thank y'all for watching.
Peace, bro.